Hello and welcome back to round 5 and 6 of the TGP Season 43 Championship. We are here in Miami, and apologies, we have missed the opening couple of laps here in the United States because of some technical difficulties, but we are now live and hopefully you can hear me on the stream. Unfortunately, Jack has had some mic difficulties tonight, so we're just going to go with a bit of a solo comms for the remainder of this race, just so we can bring it to you, and hopefully we can have that sorted for Imola next up. But currently we have Jovial Manatee leading the way then, ever so slightly ahead of Speed Kai. Is only half a second the gap at the minute, and then we have Court in third with Alistair Bain hot on his heels as well, with John actually in the Williams coming under a bit of pressure from Machine Island. There is a move in the background. That's Arthur trying to hang on ahead of Aidan Griffins, and the McLaren man is trying to hang it around the outside. Got a tricky corner there to make the move, and he might actually just come under threat there from Dom Smith, who picks up the position. There's a car in the background there diving in the pit lane. I think that's NCL Cam pitting for a fresh set of boots, but Dom Smith trying to make the move then on the Scotsman, tries to hang around the outside, and he just about almost gets it done. The McLaren is still hanging it on there and just about keeps control of the car. He has to concede the position, but he almost took a Williams with him into the barrier. He's coming under more pressure and he's lost a couple more places. He's got front wing damage now on the car as well. So an awful set of corners there for Aidan Griffins, as he's now down into 12th and his teammate is now next right behind him. And he'll just have to try and survive the remaining lap and get into the pit lane. And there is a move from Machine Island then up into 5th place ahead of Jean. And there is Bavesia getting ahead of Dom Smith, who's also been passed by Wet Lemons, who did very well last week in Holland and Britain. And he has now picked off Bavesia as well. He is now up into 8th place as he struggles through that tight and twisty part of the lap here. And there's a bit of a gap then to Arthur up the road. He's in a bit of no man's land, actually. He's not got DRS on the car in front of him at all. And I think Wet Lemons there may have just clattered the barrier. Might have just picked up a bit of front wing damage, as he's now going to get re-overtaken by Bavesia here. But we will cut away from this and go to the front quite soon, because I think it's going to get a bit spicy for the lead of this one. But that is Bavesia then up into P8. And he then next has his teammate up the road. So Jean is also in the pit lane now, down in 6th place. So that'll be for medium tires. We've also got Dom Smith following him in as well. But Speed Car here at the minute is still in the DRS and very much still in the mix for the race victory here in Miami. And those soft tires will be starting to hurt quite badly now. So it's going to be a bit of a thing of keeping them alive. You don't want them to just fall off a cliff and then lose heaps of time and seconds to the other driver, whilst those mediums can just go that little bit further. We have already seen people, though, going on to the hard tyres. You can see from 14th down into 18th. They're all on the hard tyres then. They will very comfortably go all the way to the checkered flag here. We've got more cars getting quite close down this straight, and there is a move from Wet Lemons trying to go around the outside of Lewis Craig, and the Red Bull man then moves into 8th and maintains the position, I believe, ahead of Wet Lemons. So good driving between the pair of them there to keep that nice and neat and tidy. But you can see Bavesia, that's what I was saying about the soft tyres going off. Arthur absolutely dropping off a cliff here. And Jack has rejoined me in the party, so let's hope any technical difficulties have been figured out. But it is Jovial Manatee who leads us then on to lap 7 of 20. Quite a long race here in Miami. And at the minute, he is coming under even more pressure now from Speed Kai, getting that gap now down to well below half a second. But it is this part of the lap where he will start to suffer a bit with those soft tyres. And there's a trio of cars right behind him who are going to be keeping them very interested at the front. We've got Court, Alistair and Machine Island not too far away. So if anything does happen in this battle for the lead here, you can be absolutely sure that they'll be ready to pick up the pieces. But Speed Guy has lost a bit of time then through that first sector, so we'll have a look at this little scrap for the final podium spot. And there is Machine Island then with the DRS. So too does Alistair Bain have the DRS as well, and that kind of cancels it out between those two. Machine Island was quite close going onto that straight, but if the car ahead of you does have the DRS as well, it does make it incredibly difficult to get past. especially on a track like this where there is only a handful of overtaking spots. But there is an overtaking spot for Wet Lemons. He's trying to find a way past Arthur. He probably has actually found a way past Arthur there. I think that's both Bavesia and Wet Lemons getting ahead of Arthur, who, like I said before, is clearly really struggling now on those tyres. But it's a bit of a almighty scrap here for this P6 position. We saw this last time out in Silverstone, where there was multiple cars fighting for that kind of 6th, 7th place position. And Arthur, I think, had a bit of a send there down the inside, a bit ambitious. And surely it's only a matter of time until he'll come in the pits. He chooses not to. He's still carrying it on. And he's now got the Red Bull of Lewis Craig for company. He'll try and hang it around the outside on Arthur here into the first corner. Yes, he does. Gets it. Not quite, actually. And there is a big old swapper for Bavesia. He's right off the circuit, almost finding the barrier. Just about manages to catch it in the end. He's got a teammate for company now, though. Having a little look up the inside. Thinks better of it. But Bavesia there getting a little bit too hot on the throttle. And in the end, paying the price as the two Haas drivers now slip further back into the last stages of the top 10. But meanwhile, out front, Court then has got that gap now down to just about a second. A couple more hundredths of a second, and he will have DRS on Speed Kai. And there you can see it now. He might just have DRS down this next straight and really bring himself now into play for race victory. We could have a 5-way fight here for the win in Miami. And it's like deja vu of Silverstone all over again. There is Machine Island then. He is making the move on Alistair Bain into, well, I believe this is the final corner. It's probably the penultimate corner. And he gets all out of shape there coming out of that penultimate corner. As the top three all dive in the pit lane. So Machine Island does now take the lead. But here comes Alistair Bain, and he's coming back out. And they both have DRS going into the first corner. But Machine Island does come out on top then. And just had that extra bit of speed down that start-finish straight. And so Giovanni then going on to hard tyres. Speed Kai onto the mediums. And you can see Court as well going on the hard tyres there. So interesting mix of strategies as Bavesia now has got ahead of Wet Lemons. I wonder if that was a bit of a mistake there from Wet Lemons at some point. But so those who did the undercut, those who pitted a little bit earlier, they haven't benefited too much. Jean and Dom Smith, they're not that close to these front runners. But I can hear a microphone in my ear, so maybe that is Jack rejoining me now. But at the minute, it's still a net leader of Joe Humanity, but he is going to come under all sorts of traffic here with Chris Johnston just ahead of him. And they're going to actually hit the worst part of the track here to have this traffic. As we have had Casper retire in the pit lane, so a bit of a miserable race for him in the end as he calls it quits fairly early and retires in the pit lane, thankfully. We will not have any safety cars for that. But yes, not the greatest start to his pair of races tonight in this one. So we believe we've got the microphone things sorted here. So if you can hear me, Jack, feel free to speak. As we have the top two in the pit lane, and we have a spinner of Wet Lemons. He's almost in the barrier, but he's managed to pick it up. But Jack, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we're back in action. Alistair and Machine Island both into the pits. The Speed Kai closes the gap to Giovanni on the quicker tyre. I think Speed Kai here has picked a beautiful strategy. He's right on the back of Roy now, and Roy having to get those hards up to temperature, going to cause him a bit of hassle with some traffic as well. Not the strategy Visa RB would have been planning for early on in this race. Still plenty of time, but it looks like it's advantage keyed in at the moment.
Absolutely, and it's going to be intriguing to see if you'd think the mediums, Jack, would have quite a bit of an advantage over the hard tyres in these closing stages, but we've seen this before where the hard tyres can actually be a surprisingly good race tyre in this division.
Yeah, over the course of TGP win the last few seasons as Matt Tibbles moves out of the way, the guys ahead not getting involved. The hards have seemed to be, in these 35% races, the best race tyre, which is not something you'd usually think we'd talk about much. But yeah, the likes of Roy and Machine Island especially, they've used them to their advantage over the course of the past seasons that we've had the 35% races. But this is it, this is the moment now. The next 4 or 5 laps where Kai does have the advantage. He needs to make the move, and this is where he's going to make the move. He's on on the DRS and the battery. He's moved to the left-hand side, and there's absolutely nothing to defend with for Roy, who's just going to have to get back in the slipstream. And that's exactly what Kieran needs to do. He needs to get the move done now and try get away while his tyres have the advantage.
Absolutely, they were caught there, also picking up a place as well. So it's good to see that trio of drivers are staying fairly close after making those stops. But you can just see they've got the gap, haven't they, Jack? I mean, Joe Vermanity there has about a second and a half to Court, and they'll be wanting that. They don't want more people to join the party at the front here. They want this just to be between the pair of them, because I think the DRS is seemingly quite powerful here.
Well, the more that drivers involved, the more chance there is of accidents and risks you don't want to necessarily take. When it's just one man ahead, it's just get the DRS and sail past them, which Roy most likely will be able to do. But Kai does have the DRS on the Haas in front, and that might just allow him to hang on to first place at the moment. He's not going to take first place just yet off Professor, but Machine Island now is the next man up to pass Matt Tibbles, and I think Alistair in the next few corners is going to do so the same. They've seemed to lost a bit of time to the front three doing the lap extra on their strategies. Will the Red Bull and the Visa RB come back later on in the race with an extra tyre life? But now Kai should get past the Haas Professor, and it looks like he has done with ease.
Yeah, job done, and that actually wasn't too bad in the end, you'd have to say, Jack, because, I mean, he obviously lost time, but by getting Bavessia just in between, he'll be hoping the Haas here just stays out just a little bit longer, which, of course, he's not going to do that. And, well, it gives us a straight fight then for the win here in these closing stages.
And I tell you what, Court Gill has closed right up to the back of Jovi Manny. It's 4 attempts. He's got a second on these guys since the Haas held them up a wee bit. Kai is off in the distance now. He's broken the DRS of the hard runners. That's exactly what Cyber needed him to do. And as I said earlier, it does look like advantage to Kai at the moment, but Roy's not going to give it up without a fight. And Court struggling through the first sector. He's losing just a couple of attempts, but he's got to keep the foot down and try to get past Roy as quick as he can, because Roy's not going to give this up without a hell of a fight. But if Court wants to win this race and close the gap even more to Machine Island in the championship, he needs to get a win here tonight.
Well, I tell you, this is almost the moment here for Court to really take advantage, because Joe Vermanity does not have DRS on Speed Car. You could just see Court there getting so late on the brakes into that corner, because he knows that if he wants to win this race, this is the opportunity. If Joe Vermanity can get DRS back on Kai, then it will be so much more difficult in these latter stages. But Court here should have another opportunity to try and have a little lunge down the inside.
He might not get it here. There's a safety car as Arthur's DNF from the Grand Prix. So we'll see who this helps. The likes of Chris Johnson, who's on 11 lap old mediums. He's risked it for a safety car, staying out, and it's paid off for him. He should gain a few places. Calm. I think everyone else has stopped actually. I think it's only going to really help
Court's in.
Chris and Court, Machine Island and Alistair Bain all coming in, which you imagine would be for the soft tyres.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, the only way that works is if everyone else comes in the pit lane, but I think this might work quite nicely for them here, you know. I mean, Dom Smith has stayed out as well as Jean there in third, but you have to say, apart from maybe Kai, those guys on the hard tyres, they're going to be very vulnerable here, Jack. I think they could be in serious trouble, because there's going to still be quite a few laps to go here.
Yeah, and they've not lost any places down to Jean and Dom Smith, and they're both on 7 lap old hards. I think Jean and Dom have missed a trick there, because everyone other than Poop Cannon between 5th and last place have all boxed for the soft compounded tyre. Interesting from the top guys not to come in. Obviously you expect Kai not to come in first place on the medium, should be able to get away at the beginning, but the likes of Dom, Jean and possibly Roy are going to be in danger on this restart in the next few laps as everyone bunches back up and the field closes up again. But it's all about the restart. This is one of the harder tracks to do a restart, just because of the kind of nature of the final corner and the beginning of the start finish. It's not the nicest restarting circuit, but we'll see. Kieran got plenty of experience in this, and obviously almost a TGP1 champion a few times. Was unlucky against the likes of Jack Hickey, who's down in P13, but he's going to have to try and get away cleanly, because Roy is not going to have to wait around. He's going to have to get going because he can't afford the likes of Court and Machine Island catching him quick.
Yeah, I think this thing Kai does have a little bit of a buffer with those 3 cars just behind him, but I think the key part is just getting the temperature back into those kind of harder compound tires. Well, obviously harder than the soft tires, and which it'll be easier for Kai. I mean, the hard tire runners, they really will be under immense pressure at the restart here because it's just the kind of temperature difference. And I know, like you say there, Jack, obviously it's a bit more of a favourable track to restart on. It's not too easy to get those overtakes done, but with the way that first sector is and how kind of corner dependent it is, I do fear for some of those that have risks staying out. But it's worth the risk for some of them, I guess, Jack, because if you're Dom Smith and Jean there, I mean, they were in the points, but not in the upper stages. So it's worth the gamble in some sense.
Yeah, well, it might help them score some extra points. They're going to have to defend like crazy. They're going to have no grip in that first sector come the restart. But then again, I'm commentating, not driving, so these guys know what they're doing. Dom obviously had a great season last season, and Jean, obviously one of the most decorated TGP1 drivers we've got. It's good, time will tell, but you imagine the guys like Court and Machine Island, they're battling for the championship. You'd imagine come the end of the season on one lap old softs, they're going to be able to make the move. Alistair's obviously won a TGP1 race before as well, back on F122 at Azerbaijan. He's not going to be waiting around. Then you got Poop Cannon that might afford a wee bit of a buffer to the likes of Matt Tibos and Chris Johnson, who are going to have to try and defend from the guys like Cam and Lewis Craig behind. But there's going to be plenty of action when we get going again for at least 5 racing laps. But yeah, it's going to be all eyes on the front. How quickly can that Sauber break free and get away? Because Court Gill is in an absolute great opportunity to pick up a win here, or Machine Island for his 3rd of the season. And Alistair Bain, he's had a wee while since he's been on the top step of the podium. He'll want a win tonight if he can.
Yeah, many opportunities here, and the safety car is coming in. So this is the key moment. It's going to be all about this restart for Kai. And you can see he's already slowing the pack down quite a bit for this one, as you would imagine. But it's really going to be interesting to see where he decides to go. If he does it quite early, or if he'll take it up to the line. If it was me driving, I'd take it right up to the line here. But I'm sure he's far more qualified and knows exactly what he's doing, and I think he's gone for it now, Jack.
Yep, Kai has gone, and Gioviamani has reacted pretty slowly, but John behind has reacted slowly as well, so I don't think we're going to have many chances for overtakes, except the 2 Mercedes might be swapping places, and Dom has just got enough straight line speed in the back of the Mercedes AMG to hang on, and Machine Island is right on the back as well. These guys are going to be so close through this first sector, and this is where Court might be held up by Dom Smith, because there's nowhere to overtake your teammate at this part of the track, and the guys on the hards are so slow through the first sector, and they're already 1.3 seconds back on the top 2. And now Court, Machine Island and Alistair Bain, they need to get the move done here and now and get past these guys that are slow. But Dom has not got enough to hold on to Court Gill, and they're almost touched, and they're going to be 3 wide into the turn. And Johnner somehow is hanging on to this place. Dom Smith not going to be able to hang on to any places as Court dives up the inside and is onto the podium now. Machine Island going to try go around the outside of Jean, but he's not quite able to do so, and looks like Alistair's got on Dom as well, and the hard gamble has not paid off for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were just a bit sitting ducks there. I mean, Court did very well to just negotiate all of them, and I have to say Speed Guy out front did a great restart there. He had a bit, almost broke the DRS to Gioviamani, but they are going to come under some immense pressure here as Machine Island then does send it on Jean then for 4th place, and it's a good move then from the Red Bull man, and he'll be hot on the heels of Court. I think between those two, they could genuinely be fighting for the win here.
Yeah, they're not too far back. It's around 2 seconds to the lead for those guys, and they've got plenty of laps to go to close that gap. Now it's Alistair Bain's turn. He's down in P6. Machine Ireland just got past Sean on the previous lap. Now it's Alistair's turn to do the same if he can. We've got Poop Cannon retiring as a disaster for the Scuderia here in Miami. They've both retired 2 of the 3 retirements so far tonight. They need to get their heads down and focus on the race tonight. And Jovial Mani is losing touch to the DRS, and that might allow the likes of Court. But here comes Alistair, on the back of Jean, right past. Easy as you like, and now Alistair head down and try regain that 2 seconds he's lost. But yeah, Jovial Mani has closed that gap actually back down to 6/10 of a second. And the closer Kai is to Jovial Mani, the more danger he's in for the likes of Court and Machine Island being able to get in the DRS once they overtake Roy.
Oh yeah, this is the worst case scenario for Kai now because they're all in a bit of a DRS drain behind the Sauber, and I think he's going to be really feeling the pressure now. He's just going to be ticking these laps down and just hoping that Machine Island and Court cannot get too close, but he might have to worry about Giovanni here, Jack, because if those hard tyres, if they've still got plenty of life in them, those mediums may start to struggle a little bit at these closing stages.
Well, as you see there, Jovial Mani has got some pace, not quite soft pace, but he's got some pace in that car. And on the restart, they were going to be cold, but they should be up to temperature now, if not very soon. So yeah, Kai might not just be in danger of the guys on the softs. The Visa RB driver closing that gap now. He seems to have found a rhythm that he's liking around the first and second sector, and he seems to have some decent straight line speed as well. But those guys behind are just so quick. Look how much grip Court has got in the back of that Mercedes, and he's closing the gap, but he's not got enough straight line speed. The DRS is helping, but not quite helping enough. Roy looks okay for the moment, and like we say so many times, it's one thing to get close, but it's another to get past, and Roy is not someone that is going to take any chances of letting anyone past him in a Grand Prix.
Well, I tell you, we've got a grandstand finish here because it is a real, genuine fight between this top four. Any of these four could win this one. And I tell you, I've got absolutely no idea who's going to come out on top in this one because they are getting ever more close. But here is Roy then. He's going to go for it. He's going to try and take the lead here. He's getting pushed right up against the barrier by Kai. But it is a great move then from Giovanni, although Kai tries to hang it on, gets late on the brakes. At that corner, there's a bit of contact, and you might just have Court try and pick up the pieces as well here, Jack.
And here comes Court. Now he looked to take advantage of the top two making contact, but he's not been able to make the move. And now Machine Island in the background as well. He's going to go right down the inside, and he's gone too deep, and he's hit the Mercedes driver, and there's damage on the Red Bull, and there might just be damage on the Mercedes. And the guys that looked in prime position to win this Grand Prix or have the best opportunity of winning this Grand Prix may have just cost each other a chance to win. Those yellow flags for the McLaren further back, but now can't Jovial Mani get close to Kai down the back straight. He's going to have the DRS. He's got a bit more battery in the battery pack, and the Mercedes behind is losing time at the moment through the first sector. Will the DRS help him close the gap? It's not quite, but here comes Roy now. He's going to go round the outside, possibly. No, he thinks better of it. And Court late on the brakes. What a move that will be for the second time this Grand Prix. A second manoeuvre like that, this time Court has done. What a move that was. And talk about taking the opportunity when you can.
I say that could be almost the race winner move there because he just caught Giovanni napping there. Roy was so focused on Kai there and trying to make the pass on him, he just opened the door for Court to just slip past. And he's still there, and I'll tell you, they're going to get very close coming up to this next corner because Court is having to worry about the car behind him, but they all still remain in the same place. But Kai is still hanging on somehow, Jack.
Yeah, he's hanging on for dear life at the moment. He's got 2 more racing laps to go, and he's going to have to defend with everything he's got and use all of experience in the cockpit to try and hang on to this race when he took the lead on lap 4, and he's held it ever since. But he's got Court behind on fresh softs, and I tell you what, Jovial Mani is looking very quick. He's not out of this. Any of the top 4 can win this Grand Prix, and I tell you what, Court is just gaining so much through the first sector, and Kai's going to have no DRS to defend with. Surely this time Court's going to take the lead of the Grand Prix.
Well, here he comes. Here comes Court then. He will have the DRS. So too will the 2 behind him as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on them. But here comes Court then with the DRS on Kai. And this could be a race-winning overtake here. But don't forget Giovanni right behind as well. Having a little look just behind. Court thinks better of it. Doesn't get the move done. Look at Machine Island. Swinging it around the outside of the pair of them. Look at that. What an overtake that is from him. He's still got Court on his inside. But he's got it done. Chapeau, what an overtake from Machine Island there to go around the outside of the pair of them, and now all of a sudden he is in pole position, you'd have to say, to potentially win this race.
What a move it was from Machine Island, and I tell you what, if I was Kurt Gurr, I'd not be happy, because to get that second move that he did on Kurt, he had to cut the trap, but he's going to take the lead of the Grand Prix somehow. He's overtaken 3 cars in 1 lap. There may be questions asked later on, but like Lando did in USA, just get the move done and get going down the track as quick as you can. Machine Island leads on the final lap, and Kai will have a chance to attack. He's been saving the battery and harvesting the ERS. He's got so much more battery than the Red Bull, but Court behind as well has got some battery as well. This is going to be the best final lap we've had in a long time between the top 3, and Roy might just be able to pick up the pieces if he can. And I tell you what, Alistair Payne is closing the gap. It might be a 5-way fight on the final lap here in Miami.
He's coming from absolutely nowhere, you'd have to say, in this one. But here we go then. Machine Island, I tell you, those softs will start to be suffering quite a bit. And Kai is going to retake the lead here, but he's got Court right behind him. This could be free abreast. It is going to be free abreast into this next corner. Who will be the latest of the breakers? And it is Court who will have the inside line and will take the lead of this one. Kai's going to hang on, though, up the inside, but he has to concede. And it is Court now who leads this race.
Yeah, Court leads from Kai, from Machine Island, from Giovinazzi, from Alistair Payne. They're all so close on this final sector, on the final lap, and this is it. Your last chance to try and make the win. It's Kai who's in second place. He's led the whole Grand Prix and he's lost it at the final moment. Can he get back past? Court is defending like crazy. He's going to try and go the long way round. It is Speed Kai. It's not going to be enough. He's clipped the wall. He's going to do the switchback low. Is it going to be enough? Kai's actually taking it on the final lap, but Kurt's so close. I have no idea who won. Kai has won the Grand Prix just in no more does the Cyber driver pick up the win. Court is going to be absolutely devastated with that. That is the closest finish I think I've ever seen to a Grand Prix between the top 5-7 tenths of a second. And I tell you what, Kai is going to be absolutely delighted with that one.
Wow, what a finish. I mean, Dom, you better get the record books out, because that must be one of the closest finishes we've seen in a long, long time. But, I mean, great work from Kai, you have to say, because it looked like it was lost, whether it was going to be Court or Machine Island, but in the end, he just did enough to hang on there.
Well, top step of the podium for Speed Kai. That makes it 4 winners in 5 Grand Prix this season. Action-packed once more in the TTP series. It never seems to disappoint. And I tell you what, Court going to be devastated with that Machine Island. He'll be feeling unlucky as well. And Giovinazzi didn't even end up finishing on the podium there. He'll be disappointed with that. But the safety car kind of sprung it into life after the pit stop phases, and with Imola to come, we have got plenty more action to come your way.
Yeah, look at that. Your top 3, absolutely, well, make that the top 4, separated by less than a second. And it is obviously Speed Kai who picks up a victory from pole position, but if only it was as easy as that sounds. What a battle that was to the finish. Machine Island gets the fastest lap in the end, and Court does end up runner-up and will gain critical points in the championship, but I don't think any of them were thinking of that at the end of that one, Jack. It was all about that race victory.
Well, there's too much pride at stake to not go for the win. The Visa RB's picking up good points. They're looking like they're having another solid season in terms of the constructors, but yeah, no one is going to give up any ground in any Grand Prix. It doesn't matter if the championship is up for grabs or not. They're going to fight until the final racing lap, just like you've seen there. And I believe that end to that Grand Prix, that beats me and Alistair in TGP2. I think we were separated by 3 thousandths of a second, 33 thousandths of a second. That was closer than that. I don't quite think it was as close as Jack Pearson's record was to the closest finish. I think that was just about 8 thousandths of a second off, which is absolutely insane to think about. But oh, what an end to a Grand Prix. And well, we talk about races in TGP1 being entertaining, but how can Imola ever match what we just had there?
Oh, I mean, yeah, if Imola somehow matches that, well, you know, we've had 2 races of absolute, peak TGP, but let's hope so. I mean, I'll absolutely take another race like that. That is for sure. But you have to say, in terms of the championship, that it is still Machine Island who does lead the way, but Court does just trim that gap a little bit. But in terms of the likes of Kieran there, I mean, he's quite far down in the standings before tonight, Jack. He was down in 13th, but obviously we've seen like last season, he was almost one of the main threats to Casper, and you do wonder if he starts to get a bit of momentum going now. He could still, find his way up these standings and potentially fight for the title this season if he keeps that kind of pace up.
Well, he was disappointed at the end of last season, Kai, in the chat and on the streams. He felt like he had the pace to challenge Casper, didn't have the consistency or wasn't great at this beginning of the season, and that cost him maybe a chance later on at the championship. And well, he's not got that issue at the moment. Casper not dominating. Machine Island is obviously the leader and has got a bit of a gap. It's about 12 points now, I think. Machine Ireland leads after Court closes the gap a wee bit. But yeah, he's got to kind of just to win the championship, you've got to finish on the podium all the time, don't you? It's kind of one of those, you can't really afford those off weeks. I think Casper had like 19 podiums in 20 races last season, or something close to that. It wasn't quite Jeaner's record of most podiums in a season, but that's the sort of consistency you've got to have to be TGP1 champion. It's not hard to, it's too hard to do for most men. It's very, very challenging. And you've seen Casper had to have a softy-like season to pick up the championship, and you see this season that he's not able yet, at least anyway, to do the same. It's very hard to keep up that consistency. Finish in the top 5, in the top 3 all the time. People come and go. You've seen Matt Tibbles in the past. He was doing it for a couple of seasons. Jean's done it in the past. Jack Hickey, who's back tonight's done it in the past. The only man that's really been able to consistently do it is Softy. Softy's a robot. He's not even a real person. So for Kai, it would be nice to see him up there on the final week when we get to the final races to be in that championship fight. But it's all about consistency. He's got to be quick in quali. I think that's kind of what lets him down is his qualifying. He can either be on pole or he's down in 13th. Kind of what Cam had last season. The qualifying lets it down. And obviously you don't score points on the Saturday, but it is important, especially this grid is just so close, and qualifying and where you're starting in the Grand Prix can make or break your race. And well, we've got 5 guys that could win the championship come the end of the season if you were going off paper, and it'll be interesting to see if you can keep it going till the end of the season though.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think this Imola race will paint us a bit more of a picture in terms of potentially the rest of this middle part that's coming up of the season, because this is a pure driver's track, I would say. So if Machine Island and Court are the real kind of pace setters for this season, well, we should see them at the top. But as we've seen before, Jack, this kind of track and qualifying, it's usually a bit of a tough one for invalidating your lap. And obviously we've got one shot quality ahead of us here, so that's going to be something to keep an eye out before. We did see last season Casper was usually the master of avoiding that, and when his rivals slipped up and had all the work to do in the race, it was almost gifting Casper an advantage straight away.
Well, qualifying is one of those in one shot. You can't afford to make a mistake, but if you're not going as quick as you possibly can, you're going to lose a lot of positions. It's one of those where it might kind of the grid spices up a wee bit. It's something that you could maybe see Alistair in the front row. We've seen a few times in one shot last season. Lewis Craig was pretty good in one shot last season as well. And it is a chance where some of the guys at the front maybe not putting it to the limit because they're scared of invalidating or not risking starting at the back. So it does spice up the grid a wee bit, the one shot quality. And yeah, let's hopefully we don't get everyone bottling it and giving someone an easy win. Let's hope we get a grand finish like we did in Miami. But with 25 seconds to go, the driver is going to have to put their setups on the cars. I think someone to watch out for is Dan Morris in one-shot quality. Was very impressive last season. We'll see if he can replicate that form this season, especially around Imola. I know he's got some good results here in TGP1 and TGP2 in the past as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's hope the conditions also are dry, and there is your answer. We have dry conditions for quali, which I always think is a much better thing for this track. I think a wet Imola race is a little bit too tricky, particularly for overtaking, because we basically only have one overtaking spot. But let's just see how this qualifying plays out. And like I said, with one shot, it usually throws up some surprises. Not that we need that. I mean, we've already had plenty of surprises this season so far. But let's just see if there is another just about to come up.
Well, we are lights out in qualifying, and we'll try and find the man that won the Grand Prix last time at Speed Kai. We'll go on board with Kai and see how quick he can be. He's got plenty of experience in DGB1, and he's on the run up now to turn number 1 in that beautifully painted Cyber. Oh, just avoiding the sausage curbs on the right there. I thought he was going to go for a trip to the wall, but it's smooth from Keenan so far, and it's not invalidated his lap. Now, in the left and the right onto turn 7 now, it's looked pretty clean, and he is leading the way through the first sector. A wee bit of a lock-up into Tulsa is going to cost him a bit of time, but not positions at the moment. It's looking very smooth from Keenan. Up the hill now, swooping left-hander, use all the curb you can on the inside, and Keenan's done a wonderful job there. Now, the swooping double right, this is where guys lose a bit of momentum coming up the hill into the chicane, but Kiai has done a wonderful job. He's defending his lead at the moment from New Zealand Cam, and Giovimani through the chicane he goes, doesn't do what Leclerc did in 22, and it's looking pretty smooth from Kai again. 2 purple sectors at the moment as New Zealand Cam is invalidated and been disqualified from qualifying. So there are your men at the front of the grid that lose the positions, risking it all, and it's a lovely double left-hander from Kai, and it should be a second pole position tonight. Yes, it is. 2 poles in a row, and half the grid at the end there were disqualified. So you were right, the pressure, especially for Cam, who was second that whole lap, ended up getting disqualified at the chicane.
But I tell you, that was, dare I say it, domination from Kai there. I mean, it didn't even look like he was going to see pole position there. He absolutely dominated that, to be honest. I know the gap is only 3.5 tenths of a second, but it didn't look like anyone was close. But Joe Manny does join him on the front row, and it is a long run into that first corner with Arthur just behind and Dom Smith up in 4th. So a few surprises there. And like you said, Jack, quite a few people invalidated, such as Casper and Cam. So plenty of work ahead of them, and our championship leader, Machine Island, down in 7th place. So not quite sure what's gone on there. But let's hope for another action-packed race. But although Kai may have took pole by a comfortable margin there, Jack, I don't think it's going to be comfortable into the first corner, that is for sure.
It's never comfortable into the first corner of any race when you're leading the way. But Kane picked up 2 pole positions. I think that's some good qualifying pace that we were mentioning. It's looking okay for the moment. There's no ponchos at the ready just yet. It does look gloomy, but it's dry for now. But yeah, Machine Island down in P7. He's got all his challengers behind him, though. I think everyone in the championship fight, DNF, Lewis Craig ahead of Machine Island in P6. The Red Bulls maybe going to try work together, get up the order, and get a good result for their constructors' hopes. Obviously, Lewis defending his crown. Not really his crown, it was more Casper's crown, but Lewis is going to claim it for the whole season until it's over, if it does end this time round. But yeah, Kai got a job to do. He knows the task at hand. He's got everyone kind of 5 or 6 places back that he's worried about, and the lights are on the grid now.
Here we go then, we've got 5 red lights ahead of the drivers here in Imola, and we are underway with Kai then leading us, and has a little bit of a slide there at that second phase of the start, but he does continue to lead the way then ahead of Giovanni, and he's also got Arthur there on the grass there into the first corner. Arthur coming from absolutely nowhere there to move up into second place. We've got another Sauber in the barrier in the background. That's Chris Johnston finding the wall, but Giovanni there getting nabbed there into the first corner by a fast starting Arthur, and it's the top 2 on the soft tyres who've really benefited from making that choice of tyre there, Jack.
Yeah, Arthur had a wonderful start, and there's a Williams off in the background, but the Haas had a great start and just dive bombed into the first corner. It was a wonderful move from Arthur now into second place. He's 1.5 back from Kai, so Kai doing what he needs to do. Not many other drivers making up places. Cam's made up 2, Aidan Griffin's made up 5, which is the best start in the Grand Prix, and Lewis Craig and Machine Island have swapped places at the moment. They've got another fast Haas behind, and Machina needs to get these moves done quickly on the likes of Jean, Dom Smith and Arthur and Giovanni to try and close the gap to Kai. And I tell you what, that Haas is looking very racy in P8 as well, behind the Red Bull driver in Bevesser.
Yeah, well, we've seen this at Silverstone. It seems like if Arthur puts his mind to it, he can be absolutely rapid on certain circuits. But here comes Giovanni then. He's going to try and risk it around the outside then into the first corner. But you can bet your bottom dollar Arthur is not going to give that one up easily. And he does get late on the brakes and keeps the position, surprisingly, there. He goes very defensive, though, coming up to this next corner. But you're not going to make an overtake there. But Arthur then continues to hang on to that second place. But already the gap is 2.2 seconds to Kai out front.
Yeah, Kai is living the dream out front at the moment. Cam not living the dream. He's stuck in the diffuser of Court Gill in P10. He's close as anyone is on track at the moment, but not quite got the space to make the move. And like you said, in qualifying, there's only really one overtaking opportunity unless you do a really late dive bomb into maybe the chicane or turn the final corner, but not really places, especially this early on when everyone's so bunched up. You've not got that opportunity, and well, he's made up places on the race start. Maybe going to have to try and wait till the field spreads a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a bit of a patient game at the minute, as hard as that is around a circuit like this. But with the DRS now well and truly enabled, you can imagine Giovanni is not going to be waiting around here, because he is going to move up into second place. A little bit of a move down the straight there from Arthur, but he is absolutely defenseless to that one, as Giovanni easily moves up into second place. And we should now start to see a few moves, and I think there is a few there in the midfield, Jack.
Yeah, Machine Island has passed Jean for P5. Court Gill overtook Bevesser. Now Bevesser is chasing him back down, and I think Casper's made up a few places in the last few laps as well. He's into 11th place, so Casper coming into his own now. Got a bit more of the midfield to navigate before he gets to the likes of Lewis and Jean and Machine Island. But Casper, one to watch out for. He's got some good pace off the start, and well, as Cam has stagnated, might make a move on Bevesser here. He's been stuck in 10th for a long time, has Cam. Can Casper show his class and experience and maybe be able to do what Cam's not been able to do?
Well, here goes Cam. He's going to have a look around the outside. He can be a bit of a frustrated driver sometimes if he gets stuck behind somebody, but he just couldn't find a way through that. It's an incredibly hard track to find a place to overtake if it's not the start-finish straight, and he is still going to have to sit tight then in 10th place. But further up the road, I believe we're going to have a move very shortly, because that's Arthur potentially coming back at Giovanni here. He's gaining on Giovanni, but I'm not too sure he's going to be that close actually coming in the straight. It looked a bit closer on the radar there. There is a move though in the background. That is Enzio Cam then in the end getting ahead of Bevesser, Jack.
Yeah, Cam needed that move to get done there and then. Casper is absolutely flying and got so much speed that Cam doesn't want that battle at this moment of the Grand Prix. We're only a quarter of the way through this Grand Prix, and Casper now going to make a late lunge on the Haas driver, and that could be a wonderful move if Casper gets the traction. He doesn't, and Casper's going to have to try and get past later on in this lap. But yeah, Bevesser causing some issues from some of the higher up drivers in the midfield at the moment, and this is why one shot qualifying is so important. You can't afford to get stuck in that midfield battle.
Absolutely, and like I say, on a track like this, it is incredibly frustrating if you just can't get past that car in front. And obviously we have to factor in here, it's such a long pit lane, so you have to keep your car intact. It's not the place to get a broken front wing, because the price you pay for that extra pit stop, well, you might as well call it quits, as Lewis Craig picks up our first penalty in the top 10. So an unfortunate one for him, but I'm sure we'll see plenty more penalties to come.
Yeah, Lewis, penalty, and he's getting passed by Court Gill. It's a disappointing few moments for him. Lewis is going to be very disappointed with that penalty. And Casper now on the back of Bevesser down the inside. The Haas is causing drivers all sorts of problems. He's placing his car wonderfully, but it's still not going to be enough. The defending champion going to try go down the inside. They're side by side, and it is enough. The Haas placing his car absolutely wonderfully, but the Ferrari coming back down the inside. It might be too much for him this time, and it looks like Casper's got the move. They're still close together, and Casper does have that move done now. And well, Bevesser gave it absolutely everything to the reigning champion, and Casper had enough class to get the move done. And we'll see if he can close up to Cam and Lewis Craig now. Lewis going to be disappointed with that penalty, as I mentioned earlier on. Probably something that he could have avoided, and he's going to have to pick up the pace now to avoid losing time.
Yeah, and the problem for him is because everyone's so close together, it does just make it impossible to really get any kind of decent result out of this one. So he'll be hoping for a bit of field spread soon. But someone who's going to come under more pressure here is Arthur. And it's Dom Smith and Machine Island then putting the pressure on the Haas driver. And there goes Dom Smith then with the DRS. An easy pass on Arthur. And so too for Machine Island, who's also trying to get both of them down this straight. He'd done it in the last race. He's done it again here in Imola. A great move then from Machine Island to pick off both of them as he moves now into the top three and sets his sight on Joe Vermanity. A brilliant bit of driving there from the Irishman, and your current championship leader again pulls it out of the bag.
Yeah, he's gained 4 places in this Grand Prix, and well, Dom Smith didn't want the podium anyway. He just got past straight away the moment he got into 3rd place. Dom now going to have to defend from Arthur, who's very close to the back of the Mercedes as well. Arthur, a very feisty driver. He didn't really have anything to defend with, but now he's going to be the one with the DRS and the advantage. Joe Vermanity closed the gap at the top by 5/10 of a second last time out. Can he close the gap to Kai and make Kai have to think about it this race? Kai, obviously, in his own world at the moment, he's going to have to watch out for any undercuts, avoid a speeding pit lane penalty. But other than that, he's got it in control at the moment. Aidan Griffiths has just made another place on Matt Tibos as well in the midfield. Aidan picking up 6 places. It's been a good start from Aidan so far. How much more can he climb in this Grand Prix?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be intriguing how they manage tyres, as we have NCL Cam and Bavesia in the pit lane then, so they're getting rid of those tyres, and there is Court then moving up into 6th place. So our usual suspects are starting to finally now move up the order and make the overtakes that they need to do in this one, as the Alpine of Matt Tibos, and there's a Ferrari in the wall there. That's Casper absolutely flying into the barrier there and clattered the curb and has clattered the barrier in the end. And the reigning champion, this just goes from bad to worse for him, Jack.
Well, he's only picked up 1 win all season. He didn't have a great Australia, I remember, from week 1. He's got 2 DNFs tonight, and well, the pressure crumbling, obviously moving to Ferrari, that might have something to do with it, to be fair to him. But yeah, he's just not, he's obviously got the pace, but he's just not seeming to have that good fortune he had last season. And Jean will be very happy with that, because his podium streak going to last another year, another season of 19 podiums in one TGP1 season. But yeah, the usual suspects, other than Casper, are kind of rising to the top. The cream always rises to the top, and maybe they're able to take better care of their tyres just that little bit more than the guys in the midfield, and that's allowing them to have that bit more pace. Now the stint's coming to an end, and Court Gill, I think, has just been freed by Arthur now to go chase his teammate as Arthur's into the pits.
And there goes Machine Island then, a critical move then now up into 2nd place ahead of Joe Vermanity. And well, can anybody stop the Red Bull man at the minute? He's absolutely charging through the field, and he'll set his sights now on Kai, although he's on the different strategy, Kai, but I don't think, as we have a spinner actually, that's Jack Hickey, just where his teammate has actually just binned it in the wall. But yes, as I was saying, Kai, he's going to suffer in this final part of the race. He's obviously got the soft tyres now and has the benefit of that. But if Machine Island puts a set of soft tyres on in a few laps' time, I do fear for Kai here, despite him dominating this race so far. I don't think that domination will last all the way if he's got a charging Machine Island right behind him.
Yeah, Machine Island got the pace at the moment in time. He's very quick. But we know how quickly things can change in Grand Prix, and well, it's one thing to have the pace now, but he's got to translate that pace onto the soft tyres. It should be easily done, but he has got a flying Irishman behind, and there is your leader into the pits now. That will free Machine Ireland from any dirty air. You don't imagine it would have been too bad for Machine Ireland, the dirty air off the side right now, but he's got clean air ahead, and he's just got to try hang on to P1 at the moment, because Machine Ireland is closing that gap, not quite enough to make a move. But yeah, now it's down to Machine Ireland. Get a quick in lap in the next few moments, get onto the softs, and try gain some more time. And you're probably not going to do the overcut around Imola. It's going to be very hard to do, especially with Kai not coming out in traffic. And he's gotten ahead of New Zealand Cam. The other Ferrari has just DNF from the session, but these are crucial moments in this Grand Prix for Kai, Giovinazzi and Machine Ireland. And I tell you what, Dom Smith is not without a shout here. He's in P3 at the moment, and at P4. He's less than 5 times this cup. Dom Smith has a chance at a win here at Imola.
Yes, you do wonder, is this actually Dom Smith driving? Because he is really in genuine contention here. He's in the mix with Joe Vilmanity and Machine Island. And yeah, on pure pace here, he is keeping with them. And it's good to see. And it looks like we are very much in store here for a 4-way scrap for the win. Not quite, obviously, Miami standards, but let's just see. Does anyone dive in the pits? Yes, they do. They all come in the pits. All 3 of them are in the pit lane. Let's hope they all don't get any penalties. They don't. And let's see. We're going to have another thrilling end to this race, it seems, as it's a bit of a battle between the pit lanes here, or the pit crews, should I say. But yes, soft tyres on the cars, all 3 of them. And this is what I was saying, Jack. I think Kai may have to just worry a little bit about that. He had a gap, but he may be a little bit nervous with those soft tyres going on those cars.
Well, he managed to fend them off in the United States of America at Miami. He's extended his gap out ahead by about 1.3 seconds on his outlap.
Oh,
Arthur
no!
has actually made contact with, I think it was New Zealand Cam, was it? That's had a bit of a moment. And these guys are going to have to get past Arthur, who's no slouch in the defence department. So this might help Kai out as well. And Kai, well, he did the job last time in Miami. He's just got to do the same again. Maybe less stressful if he can, but just get going as quick as he can, because this is the moment in the Grand Prix he can make that gap and force the soft runners to wear those tyres out, catching them.
Well, I tell you, scratch what I was saying before, because those guys that had done the undercut, a couple of laps of an undercut there from Arthur and Enzio Cam have really brought themselves into the mix here, because that has caught me off guard there, seeing Arthur nip ahead of Machine Island and then Enzio Cam getting even more frustrated there, making contact. But these are key laps here then for the soft runners. If they can get past Arthur, Jack, you'd have to say this hands this on a plate to Kai here.
Yeah, these guys, they might be able to make the move now they've got the DRS, but yeah, the longer this goes on, the more it helps Kai. It might not give him the win, but it will allow him to kind of save his tyres and force the likes of Machine Ireland and Jovial Manti to use up more of their tyres to get past. Machine Ireland now is past with the DRS. Didn't have to use too much of his tyre life, but yeah, that's one extra lap of chasing down Kai that he's lost. And well, the Red Bull driver leading the championship, the gap's 4.3 seconds. These are the drives that make champions, and Machine Ireland has got to try and close that gap. It is only round 6, but he's got so much to gain if he can get this win.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying, Jack. It is only round 6, but it'd be quite a statement if Machine Island can have a bit of a poor qualifying like that, but then fight his way through the pack and still end up winning this race. But you have to say, Speed Kai has had a good middle sector there, and Arthur is actually keeping pace here with Machine Island. So if he's going to do it, he's going to have to get his foot down very shortly, because he's going to run out of laps. Because that gap, dare I say it, has just gone up ever so slightly on this lap, and Arthur is not going away here. So Machine Island is going to have his mirrors full.
Yep, he's going to have a flying Haas driver trying to come back at him for P2, and it looks like even the fastest lap of the Grand Prix isn't going to save Machine Island, and it is going to be P3 for the Red Bull again. Eventually, as Arthur down the inside on the better line, down he goes, and that undercut has put Arthur into the contention for a P2 here. Some great driving as Joel Manny having a wee look down the inside, thinks better of it. But yeah, we were saying round 6, it is early, it is good to make a statement, but it's kind of like boxing. The guy that starts off better win those early rounds, and obviously it doesn't take the pressure off completely, but it makes that pressure just a little bit less as you get on to later on in the season. Like Casper did last season, he was so good in the first 4 weeks that by the time we got halfway distance, you just couldn't imagine anyone else winning the championship.
Yeah, absolutely, and these are key moments here, and even just in this race, I think this is the opportunity of winning this one is just fading away here for the soft runners. I really thought they would put those tyres on and be absolutely rapid here, and obviously he's got the fastest lap, Machine Island, but the opportunity is just fizzling out here because Arthur is doing a stellar job of hanging on to this P2. And I tell you, Kai and Arthur, they don't exactly see eye to eye, but I think Kai will definitely be saying thank you after this race if he does go on to win this one, because Arthur is doing a brilliant job of just holding off these soft runners at the minute. But here we go then, they have the DRS and they're not going to be close enough. I mean, that is quite something, that the soft tyres, they just don't have the pace on them.
Yeah, the guys are not gaining the time that you would have thought, and that gap to Kaya in front is just widening as the laps go on. New Zealand Cam's picked up another time penalty, so I imagine the Mercedes, I know it's only round 6, might swap round though to give Court a bit of help and gain an extra few points. Giovinazzi not got the inroads that he would like at the moment. It's still 4 attempts, but it's not close enough to make a move. Machine Ireland 4 attempts back as well now. And well, the first 2 weeks of the season, Machine Ireland, he put that early statement out, I'm in contention for the championship. But this week, the answer that Kai has come with has been absolutely outstanding. 2 wins and 2 poles at the moment. Don't want to give him the commentator's curse or anything like that.
Yeah.
But what a response this has been from Kai after the not disappointing opening rounds, but he would have expected a bit better of himself.
Yeah, that Miami race was super close and obviously very different scenario, but this has been a commanding drive from Kai here. He has not looked flustered at all, and I tell you, Arthur here is going to be passed. There goes Machine Island, he gets it done, and this time he'll be just hoping he can stay ahead of the Haas driver and just get a bit of a gap, but it's a little bit too late in terms of the bigger picture. But Machine Island does move up in second place, and we'll see how that battle plays out, because this is very quickly, Jack, becoming almost a bit of a, well, if you rule out NZL Cam, this is a bit of a 5-way fight for the runners-up spot here.
Yeah, everyone, bar probably New Zealand Cam, has got the opportunity to finish on the podium here. Dom Smith wanting a bit of the podium. He was so close so many times to the podium last season. Wasn't quite to be. He was in the battle for the podium before the pit stop phases. So he's on pure merit here. It's pure pace from Dom Smith. Hopefully he can get involved in the battle later on. But yeah, Arthur looks on course for at least P3 if he can get past Machine on the P2, which would be a wonderful result for Haas and himself. He's showing that maybe the racecraft wasn't quite there last season. There was a few incidents here and there, but he does have the pace in that car to challenge these guys at the top end of TGP1.
Yeah, like I said before, the right circuit and the right Arthur, and he's going to get the right result here, because we are on the penultimate lap, and he is, well, about to take second place, but Giovinazzi from absolutely nowhere there picks off the pair of them, and he now moves up into second, and a great move. He may have to defend incredibly hard on the last lap, because he will not have DRS next time around, but Giovinazzi, who did this multiple times last season, is always there to pick up the pieces, and once again here it seems like he could pick up another great result here.
Well, he's the ultimate opportunist, Giovinazzi. He always seems to be at the right place at the right time in TGP1 to pick up the pieces and the scraps that no one else seems to get. Dom Smith and Court Gill, they're closing up now. Court managed to peel away from New Zealand Cam, and now it's all about the two Mercedes. Can they overtake each other or swap places? Court, obviously, in that battle for the championship, we think come the end of the season he needs to make up these places in the next lap and a bit. But now it's all about Arthur. He's so close to Giovinazzi. They're going to be starting the last lap in a few moments. And well, Arthur, I think P2 would be his best finish in TGP1. If he can get P2, it would be an outstanding race for him, especially 2-lap old tyres than everyone else. Machine Island, though, he's going to want a bit of the action as well. He's going to go to the left-hand side. That will give him the better line for the corner. He's going to go round the outside of Giovinazzi into turn number 1. Not quite got the grip to do so, but he's got past Arthur now. Arthur losing out on the podium. He's probably got 1 or 2 more opportunities to make the move back, and the Mercedes, like I said earlier, they did swap places on the straight.
Well, Arthur almost pushing the Red Bull along there, but I think, oh wow, just in the background there, yeah, finding the barrier and getting way too hot on the curb, and that is game over for him. And I said before, he is second in the standings, so that is big points in the bin for him. But meanwhile, at the top, it is Giovinazzi who is still hanging on. We will go to Kai very shortly, but as Arthur gets a penalty now, so count him out in the fight for the podium as Enzo Cam gets his umpteenth different penalty of this race. Machine Island then will have one opportunity here to take this second place. This is it. Can he get it done? We might have to cut away from it to see the race winner, but there is Machine Island trying to hang it around the outside, can't get it done, and there's contact behind, but it is Kai who dominates this race here in Imola. He takes a superb victory. It is Joe Vilmanity then who hangs on to second place. Machine Island completes the podium. Arthur, with that late penalty, will tumble down the order as Dom Smith gets a fourth place. What a drive, with Jean in sixth. And there is the rest of your order. Enzo Cam then out of the top 10 in the end. But what a drive then from Kai, Jack, and Joe Vilmanity just to hang on at the end there.
Absolute domination from Kai in Imola once again. I think that's his fourth win at Imola in TGP1. For a third or fourth win. He just seems to love this circuit. He always seems to pick up at least a podium and a victory. And well, he dominated. 5.8 seconds was the gap to Joe Vilmanity, who held on from Machine Ireland in the end. Dom Smith with a fourth place. He'll be gutted to miss out on the podium, but he is solid points for the Mercedes driver. Arthur will be gutted with a penalty, dropping him to fifth. Jeaners ended up with a good result there in sixth place, and I believe Cam dropped all the way to 11th with however many penalties he got.
Yeah, it did just show at the end. I think Cam may have had a bit of a lag in the end, just to spare him of any criticism from me. But we're going to get the final results shortly. But first up, the podium things beforehand, and there is a sweet victory for Kai there. Like you said before, Jack, he really is putting himself in the mix at the very top, and with Court making that costly error at the end there. I mean, although Machine Island didn't get that second place, he does just continue to extend his lead at the top.
Well, the gap at the top of the standings now, 7 points before fastest laps. I'm pretty sure Machine Island got a fastest lap at some stage. But yeah, Kai, not a great opening 2 weeks. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't outstanding. And Machine Island did have those two great opening nights. And well, Kai has answered back. 2 pole positions, 2 race victories. The gap now is 9 points between Machine Island in first and Kai in second. I believe Kai's in second place, yep. But yeah, it's been another great night, and this is what Kai needs to do. Obviously, you can't be pole and win every race all the time unless you're softy. It's just not possible. But he's got to keep up this form. He's got to be quick in quali. He can't afford mistakes, penalties, and other incidents. He needs to be consistently finishing in that top 5, in that top 4. You can't allow, I know obviously we say this all the time when we take the mick out, like said, Dom and stuff just for the banter, but you can't allow the likes of Dom and sometimes Alistair, or it might be Aiden, when he gets a good result and it's a good track, you can't allow these guys to finish in the top 5 and the top 4 when you're not on the ball and winning the races. That's what costs you championships. Casper didn't allow it last season. Cam didn't allow it when he was champion. Softy doesn't allow it when he wins. Jack Hickey, it's just one of those, you have to be in the top 5 consistently to have any chance of winning the championship, and Kai now has put himself well and truly in that battle for the championship, and he's just got to get going, and he can't afford any mistakes or any crazy mistakes between now and the end of the season.
Absolutely, and well, he'll have to just try and keep this momentum going next week in Canada and Bahrain. Another pair of great circuits to look forward to, Jack, and I don't know about you, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, absolutely delighted to get going on January 28th. Canada and Bahrain, a bit of an odd selection to be doing together, but I can't wait to see it. Canada always throws up some spicy TGP1 races. Obviously, everyone seems to get penalties. We'll see if that's the case. And obviously, Phil won Bahrain last year, so I'm excited for that. See if we can get some more drama like we did in the opening round of last season.
Absolutely, but a pleasure as always, Jack. Thank you for joining me tonight, and apologies to the viewers if we had some technical difficulties earlier, but should all be sorted for next week, and we'll be seeing you on PS4.